Starting your lock or natural hair journey is oh so rewarding, but can be extremely stressful when you start to consider what products to use. If that's you, then look no further. Locklicious is a black-owned company that has created an all-natural product line for locked and loose natural crowns. The Locklicious team works hard to ensure that their products are free of parabens, phthalates, sulfates, PEG, synthetics, and other toxic chemicals you find in other products. Best of all, the products are lightweight and will not leave residue or cause buildup. Go to locklicious.com to start treating your crown like royalty.
So Judge Randy Jinks was removed from the bench in a rare decision made on Friday, October 29th, after Alabama Court of Judiciary said in the Talladega County probate judge violated several of the state's canons of judicial ethics rules. Oh, trust me, he's one of many. There are many all over this country that need to go, right? So the guidelines direct the judges to uphold the honor of the judiciary, maintain decorum, and avoid impropriety after he engaged in a white supremacist conduct and inappropriate behavior, involving, his genitals. I would say that. Jinks was out on suspension during trial proceedings, which wrapped up just last week. They said during which over a dozen witnesses, including the state's former governor, Bob Riley, testified. And say a 78-page document revealed that Jinks was at the center of more than 100 allegations, which included reading out loud a meme related to the 2020 racial unrest, stating one of the memes read, "You sons of bees are going to need something to burn down after Trump gets reelected for a second term, sons of bees." Okay, so Jinks was accused of making foul remarks about George Floyd. Of course, we know the story about George Floyd and how he was lynched in Minnesota. In addition, the now former probate judge was also accused of asking a black clerk, Officer Darius Pearson, if he was a drug dealer. Yes, a court clerk. He asked him if he was a drug dealer, and when he purchased a new car. Boy, that is an old trope. Anytime black folks get something, you got to be a drug dealer. There's no more. Trust me, the biggest drug dealer on the planet is the Mzungu. Ain't nobody dealing drugs that he's dealing. His drug companies are called Pfizer. They call Moderna. They call GlaxoSmithKline. They call Merck. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Those companies, right? Johnson and Johnson. That's drug dealers. they so protected. If you take some of theirs and something happens to you, you can't even sue them. Ain't nobody a bigger drug dealer on the planet than them. So in May of 2019, Pearson testified that when Jinks saw his new car, he said that as a judge, he couldn't afford one, but inquired, "What are you doing, selling drugs?" Well, because you're broke and dusty as a judge, I guess. He said, "My heart skipped a beat." He said, after learning the court's decision, knowing that it was important to hold the judge accountable. Now, employees also claim that Jinks used profane language and often threw tantrums, not surprised. It said after his sandwich went missing from the refrigerator. You worrying about a freaking sandwich? Oh my God, really? They said, furthermore, workers say Jinks abused his position of power to get grants and favors. They say the former judge has maintained his innocence. He said, I am not saying I have not made some errors. Oh, white supremacy. That's what you call it these days, errors. That's funny. Okay. Because they got to clean it up, right? He said, but the majority of these vicious, vile, and vulgar accusations are nothing to fear. He said, they can say what they want. He said, they can't hurt me. I don't think nobody is trying to actually hurt you. Mr. White Supremacist Judge. They say now Amanda Hardy, attorney for the disgraced judge, told the news that a client may consider appealing that decision, as they claiming that Jinks had never been accused of being a white supremacist, but once he entered politics and became the first Republican to hold that office, they say that all changed. You mean when he was put more in the spotlight and people started to pay attention to him? Because when he was at his house, nobody knew who he was. So, of course, no one said that about him, especially the enclaves these white supremacists live in. Now, they say it's best to note also that he was not accused of making offensive remarks while on the bench, but instead in the workplace and around other employees. But this is the thing. If he's saying it outside of the quote-unquote bench, his decisions are going to be influenced by his white supremacy and his bias completely. So what you have to do at this point is look at all the black people that he sentenced and compare the people that he sentenced, they're white for the same crimes. And if you keep noticing a pattern, then you need to reverse those convictions, or at least lessen those convictions because of what he chose to do based on his white supremacy. I told people the most dangerous people in the world out there is the white supremacists. That's the judge, the DA, and the police, and the mayor, and the city council, and all. You learn real quick. January the 6th taught you that white supremacy is everywhere. That is the pandemic. You understand? And for me, and how I feel about that is that it has to come to a head, and if we're not going to get our act together as a people, then the option is, at least I talk about my personal options, is to take my talent somewhere else. I always felt that way, and nobody can stop me from doing that, right? Because one thing about these people, and they're not going to change. And I don't know why some of you can try to tell them about changing. I understand white supremacy is their culture. And when it's their culture, it's nothing you can change, right? That's like trying to tell a dog, don't bark. It's in a dog to bark. So it's in a lot of them to be white supremacists. The ones that's not that way, which are individuals, that's not the group, okay, cool. I have nothing against them at all. But I just understand the culture of white supremacy, and I know it's nothing about it that's going to change at all. Because they teach it in their homes, even when they're small children and can barely talk, they teach that. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about the situation here. With this judge, like I say, he's one of many. I say one down, thousands to go. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in the Google Play and Apple App Store. Living in America as a black person, you recognize there is one set of laws for you and one set of laws for those, especially in the white community. In our book, Passive Aggressive Racism in the System of White Supremacy, I take you through times in my life when I first started noticing white supremacy. We teach you how to recognize it, identify it, and also counter it in our book. This book is a beginner's course for those that are just starting to wake up and open their eyes to see the system of white supremacy. As a black American person, you must understand this system because this system is life or death to you. How you handle it, how you deal with it, it can affect your mental health if you don't understand this system. Pick up our book, Passive Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy, today on Amazon.